All right, all right, all right. Welcome to Goof On. Dun, 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 dun. All right, hey, we're back. And it is September 12th, 2025. We're alive. But man, what a last few days. I hope you guys endured what's been going on across this country. It is where I was in a hospital bed, the UFO hearing, Charlie Kirk, so frustrating, very frustrating, because I wanted to come back yesterday when here, because I got home about I don't know 1:30. I can't remember, noon. It could have been noon. I don't, but it was between those times, and I was exhausted. I went through the stuff that I usually have, but this time I had to go to the hospital. It was pretty bad. So, but life goes on. Hopefully I learned from that episode, which I think I did. And maybe we'll have less of these absences. But watching that Charlie Kirk, the guy next to me goes by the name of Walter. That is his name. And it was so busy in the hospital with sick people. He would keep me updated in case I fell asleep and on stuff. We both are who we are. We like what we like. We were, let's just say, 20 years apart. 23 years. He was 78. No, wait, 21 years. He was 78. Went to Nam, told me all these stories. But he told me Charlie Kirk got shot. Am I remembering this? Oh, no. Did he tell me he died? Well, anyway, I found out, and it was weird. I didn't like it. I couldn't scream, yell, do anything. I was so exhausted. What day was that? What is today? 12th? Oh my God. Yeah, 9/11 was yesterday. They caught the guy. His family turned him in. I'm not going to talk about it here. On Rich Saves America, I'll talk about it and possibly do a members video about this, because we are here in ufology and we want transparency from our government, and the way things have been the last 78 years seem to be coming to a head, and it does all work in together somehow with our First Amendment, the right as the people to know what our government is doing. Transparency is key. And we know that we don't get everybody knows every government is flawed. We do have the best government. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I love our government, but it's flawed. But it's the best one. It's the best flawed version that's out there. I wouldn't want to live in China, wouldn't want to live in Russia, wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But in this political environment that has been the last decade or so, more than that, I saw this coming when I did a show and I said, who's gay in ufology? And then I used the word fag. And this was in 2006. And guy goes, whoa, hey, whoa, what are you doing? This is when I had the AZ UFO show. We were super popular on Blog Talk Radio, #1 paranormal show, 4 years running. Proud of that. Anyway, I said, wow, what do you mean I can't say that F word? I've been saying it my whole life. And the guy goes, yeah, you don't say that, dude. That's demeaning. And I go, How? I go, well, you think it's funny that a guy would fall down and you'd or miss the ball in kickball and you and your friends would go fag. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I grew up doing. I mean, we didn't hate it wasn't about a gay guy. Yeah, but what you're saying is that when you make a mistake, you're gay. Actually, no. No, it really isn't. That's not how it feels when we say it. I promise. It's just feminizing men. That's all it meant, man. It had nothing to do with gay. It just meant, well, you're a little less man. That doesn't mean gay to me. It means you just don't have a lot of testosterone. You lose your sex drive when you get older. What are you getting gay? I mean, that's funny to me, but in this climate, I could be in the neck too. And I was told over the years, I was threatened my family was threatened. My wife was threatened with rape in front of me on air. They said this, the internet air. So the climate has been getting progressively worse, and I wasn't blind to it. I just didn't give a shit. But after what happened with Charlie Kirk, I don't give a shit more. Sorry, you just enraged a whole bunch of people like me. Sorry, not sorry, but I am who I am. You are who you are. And that's it. A peaceful discussion is always welcome here at Goof On about any political view, anything ufological. I will always treat you with respect. I will treat you as you treat me. I've always done that. And a lot of people here were really, you knew, I could be an asshole or say something that could get me in trouble or even, whatever. But it is what it is, man. And if we can't speak in this country and have a discussion, and I joke, and my thing is making fun of people, right? Oh, I can't do that now. But I couldn't even do an Hispanic voice without getting death threats. Didn't tell you. I'm not going to go around every show and say, got a death threat. Get them all the time. Sad. Sad. The whole system is just up in flames right now. Something bad's going down. I don't like it. I don't get it. The violence, I don't get it. And just talking made this kid want, just hearing what Charlie Kirk said. I was told those same things. Rich, watch what you say. You're poking Lou Elizondo like that? You know he could wipe you out. And I said, yeah, I know he can. Of course I do. It's not hard to find me. I didn't keep it a secret. I said what city I'm in. When my number's up, it's up. And that's that. And I'm going to live each day as if it was my last, like I've been doing for a very long time. I know a lot of you don't know me that well, but even if you do a little bit, you think you do, but you don't. What goes on in here doesn't always come out to you the right way. I am not a wordsmith. I say things that offend people. I get it. But if we can't offend each other, we won't get better as a country and as a person. To take the shot over and over and realize it doesn't really hurt when you call me this or call me that. I survived. I was okay. Lou, it's okay I called you fat. Don't cry about it. I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you because I don't like what I see and I said what I felt. Deal with it. And I know these people who do the things they do and say the things that we do the same exact things. Rules for thee, but not for me. Look, hey, I don't know what to tell you. Whatever your future is, just be yourself. Fuck what anybody else has to say. Just enjoy the breath of air that you can take from this world. It's a one-time shot. It's one time. We only got one shot. And every day I get closer to something going wrong in my life. It opens me up. And the day Charlie Kirk, that was the same day my brother died. So kind of hit a little bit closer to home in a afterlife kind of sense, but I don't know, man. Sometimes someone's death can really empower you, and it can change you. And Charlie Kirk changed a lot of people. A lot of people's lives for the good. And just peacefully speaking. All right. I don't get it. But let's get the show going. Now they hear it. Hello. All right, hold on. I accidentally hit the down button. So thanks for coming here. I appreciate. I seen a few super chats, and let me see if I can pull them up real quick. I'm probably not going to do a roll. Why not? We'll do a roll call here in a second. Let me pull these up. $5. Hey, Dorothy, thank you so much. Hey, Rich. You might hate my liberal ways, but I love you anyway. My faith in humanity is stronger than my faith in political sides. Glad you're better. Did that post on the screen? Because I'm doing it in the chat. Dorothy, thank you. That is so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, Dorothy's old enough. I'm not saying that as a hit or anything. But you are mature enough to have a discussion. And I never thought of you as on the other side of the political venue. I never thought of you that way. Isn't that weird? But I never have. I promise. I think, you and I, we treat each other the way we're treating each other, like with respect and, whatever your political views, let's just talk UFOs, and let's talk about Greer or this or that. So, yeah, I've always appreciated that. And you've been a friend, so. See, now you got to make me do this. I can't keep the watery eyes unwatered. You sons of bees. All right. Thanks, Dorothy. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up. No, I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. All right. Here. And who else? Jar Jar Binks. Hackle chackle. Loker moker. I know. Good to see you. What did I just do? I did it backwards, didn't I? I'm glad to see Goofon is thriving. Hope all are in good health. Thank you, Jar Jar Binks. Well, look, a membership for 7 months. Yeah, use those comments. They give you guys one free comment a month. I mean, really. Thanks, Jar Jar. I appreciate that membership. If you guys want to help support, Goofon, Super Chat, Super Sticker, PayPal, all that stuff, you guys know, I don't even care tonight, really. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Metalheads here. Thank you. Jeff Garvey. How you guys doing? Welcome to the show. Jeanette, the angel of Goofon. How you? Kabalion. Great to see you too. Thank you. Stu Gerson. Good to see you, man. I know. It's been so long. Jeff Garvey. Did I? I'll do it again. Welcome to the show. Brooke is, huh? I saw the conversation earlier. I don't know who said Brooke is, huh? Hey, David Wilcox, not Wilcox. Dun, 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 dun. He's here. It's 7 o'clock. Welcome to the show. And thank you very much for being you. Slim Shady, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Samantha Morris, the cat, very good to see you. Hey, Goofonian family listening in, driving. I love listening to shows when driving. It's my favorite. Hey, Power Off. Good to see you. There was a book about the shooting, supposedly. I know, on the day before. I know. Isn't that wild? I didn't look into it. I was sleeping, and I slept most of today, and thank God we're here. Hey, Brian Yates. Good to see everybody. Good to see you, man. Thank you for the kind words and chicken coop, of course. Thank you. Charlie is a martyr. Yep. Well, take it from here, brother. Yeah. That's what Cash Patel said, right? I love that. Hey, Scott Blight. Oh, by the way, Triple C, good to see you, man. Lucian. Hey, Scott Blight. Welcome to Goof On. Good to see you, man. I want to turn on my fan. I'm a little warm. My blood sugar is a little high. I don't want to say what the number is, but I don't know how it got that way. It was 510. I know, and look, I've only been home a little bit. I'm still unadjusted. I took insulin. I'm like, ah. All right, I'll be fine. Tom, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the show. In the media, Tom says, it's the media, Tom says, and the big companies controlling them, forcing the agenda. They have sorted out, the control freaks trying to control everything, including humans, the names. Yes, that is well done, Tom. True. And who else we got? Oh, Metalhead. Did you already? Ah, what the hell? Welcome to the show again. Raging Against Machine. Welcome to this show. All right, guys. If I didn't say your name, it doesn't mean I don't love you. It means we got a lot of show to go over tonight. And I'm going to go full 2 hours probably. I'm going to have to. I've got an hour of... I found how they took the 2 hour and 33-minute hearing, and they took the highlights and made a 1 hour and 18-minute video. So I'm going to use that. And I looked at it first because I've been getting lazy lately. And I watched the video to make sure. We had Nancy Mace. We had everybody, Luna's questions. We had the funny guy, Huckleby. I don't know. No, you had 2 bullets in the head and 1 in the back. That guy. Betcham, son of a Beecham. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Sorry I was gone for so long. It felt like a day to me. I mean it. It was the worst. All right, but now it's time for the best. And we are going to watch, yes. Now, I know I've watched this already, so I'm going to go quickly through this. But it'll be a good hour at least. So let me pull it up here. I didn't pull up the link. What is wrong with watch key moments at House? Now, I liked the hearing until today about the video. See, I thought George Knapp crushed it. I love George Knapp again. I don't know. He won me back. Yeah, he says the right things. And yes, I have closed caption on. But he does say the right things. And I don't know. Oh my God. I hope his story about how he took the Russia documents out. I know it. I've heard it already 3 times, but everybody knows the story, how he stole them. But the stories are great, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd have to give this an 8.5. Well, all right. If you're thinking with evidence, all right. 0. The evidence they gave us, we're still at 0. Yeah, 0 to 10. But the stories are great. All we're getting is great stories. I mean, they are good. And we know them all. But I like Nusatelli and the other people. So I thought this would be interesting to roll through this, as it is history. And I wasn't here. And I think it would be an easy show for me to do. Ready? I'm being transparent. Hey, why did my screen shrink like that? See, this is what I don't understand. Hold on. Yeah. Ready? Go.
This is Jeffrey Nusatelli. I'm a former military police officer with 16 years of active duty service in the U.S. Air Force. I'm here today because the American people have both the right and the responsibility to know the truth about unidentified aerial phenomenon. That truth remains hidden, classified and silenced by fear, retaliation, stigma, and confusion. Today, we are here to help break that silence. Between 2003 and 2005, 5 UAP incidents occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base, home to the National Missile Defense Project, a top national security priority. At the time, we were conducting launches deemed by the National Reconnaissance Office as the most important in 25 years. These were historic launches. These facilities were vital, and they were repeatedly visited by UAP. Each incident was witnessed by multiple personnel, documented, investigated, and reported up the chain of command. We sent information up, but we got no guidance down on how to handle these events. I personally witnessed one of these events and investigated others as they occurred. 6 other service members have provided me with the information that I will share with you today. The incursions began on October 14, 2003, when Boeing contractors reported a massive glowing red square silently hovering over 2 missile defense sites. After several minutes, it drifted further east onto the base and vanished over the hills. This event, now known as the Vandenberg Red Square, was referenced by Representative Luna at the first hearing on this topic. Official Air Force records of this event are in possession by Aero and the FBI. Later that night, while I was on duty, security guards at a critical launch site reported a bright, fast-moving object over the ocean. I responded to the incident. Chaos ensued over the radio as the object approached rapidly. I heard my friends screaming, "It's coming right at us, it's coming right for us, and now it's right here." Moments later, I heard them say that it had shot off and was gone. When I arrived on scene, I talked to 5 shaken witnesses who described a massive triangular craft larger than a football field that hovered silently for about 45 seconds over their entry control point before shooting away at impossible speed. About a week later, another patrol reported a light over the ocean, behaving erratically. Believing it might be an unannounced aircraft, they declared an emergency, and an armed response force responded. Before the forces could arrive, the object descended and either landed or hovered on our flight line and then took off again at impossible speed. The witnesses to this event were threatened and intimidated afterward. They were told to keep quiet and think about what they were reporting. After that, things did get quiet until about 2005. When another patrol reported a massive triangular craft larger than a C-130 silently floating over the installation. He watched it for a few minutes. It traveled west and disappeared into the night. And then I had my own encounter.
Guys, I just paused it here. I don't know why I did. I couldn't stop myself. But this guy had his own experience. All right, I know.
Again in 2005. I was off duty, sitting in my backyard with 2 other police officers when we noticed what first appeared to be a satellite in orbit. But it wasn't acting like a satellite. The light was strange, it was pulsing, and then it started to maneuver. It dropped in elevation. At times it would vanish from view and reappear in a different location in the sky.
Okay, I have to pause it here because it's very important. Jaime Maussan falls asleep the entire hearing. You'll see his head, oh, he wake up, oh, he go right behind the camera. Then all of a sudden, oh, I tip over, my eyes are closed. Oh, I'm asleep. I wake up, I stay right back up. He is, now, it's amazing. Now, a little bit later, we're going to see a lady about the same age as Jaime falling asleep. What have they got in there, lithium?
Eventually, it reappeared 200 feet over my house. It was a 30-foot diameter sphere of light. My friends and I watched it for a moment, and then it gently These
Okay, every time Jaime falls asleep, I'm hitting a button. You guys gotta, I don't know, want to play the Jaime drinking game? Well, let's make it interesting. I didn't even think about that. You guys want, and then I won't interrupt. I'll just hit the sound effect. Meow. No, I'm making this entertaining. I'll do this. No, you don't want to do it? All right. Put a 1 into no. All right, forget it. Just watch.
events profoundly changed my life
You
and
drink
the
if
lives
you
of my
want.
friends. We stand at a pivotal moment in history. The question is no longer whether these events are real, but whether we have the courage to face them. True leadership requires vision, a willingness to confront the unknown with transparency and resolve. So I ask the Congress to help we, the people, enact this vision. There are 3 goals. Fund independent research and treat UAP study with the same seriousness as we would any other scientific field. 2, end secrecy and overclassification. Transparency is the foundation of truth.
That should have been the thumbnail.
Without it, witnesses like us are dismissed. 3,
I'm changing.
protect the witnesses. Many stay silent out of fear for their careers, reputations, and the safety of their families. Protect them, and you will embolden others to join this cause. These phenomena challenge our deepest assumptions about reality, consciousness, and our place in the universe. Exploring them can unlock transformative breakthroughs in technology, biology, and human understanding. Let this be the moment when America chooses courage over fear, transparency over secrecy, and progress over stagnation. Let's show the world that our nation leads not only through strength, but through fearless pursuit of the truth. Thank you.
You know, this guy is interesting. We all know this guy. We've seen him before, right? Not here, but we've seen him on other places, haven't we? Because I have.
My name is Alexandro Wiggins. I'm an active duty U.S. Navy Operations Specialist, Senior Chief Petty Officer.
Before we get into Wiggins here, that first guy had his own experience. And that to me is very weird that he would have his own experience. No, that experience, I went looking for UFOs for the first 6 years of my life. Nobody did it more than me. I'm telling you, nobody did. Maybe Jeff, no, not even Jeff Willis. But anyway, and I didn't see shit. This guy gets a craft, the triangle, the lights, the whole thing. I find it too perfect. Because what if he's being abducted? We could say that. Oh, and they came back and they're using him and he doesn't even realize it. And he had a memory thing. And as they were leaving, he woke up and he saw it. It's too good to be true so far. All right.
Father of 3 and dedicated American testifying today in my personal capacity. The views I share are my own, and I do not represent the official positions of the Department of the Navy or any subordinate organization. On the evening of February 15th, 2023, at approximately 19:15 PST, in the Whiskey 291 warning area off the coast of Southern California, I was serving on board USS Jackson. During that period, I moved between the Interior Communications Center, ICC-1, and the bridge wing, correlating the sensor picture with visual observations, part of my routine responsibilities for surface and air picture management. What I observed and what our crew recorded was not consistent with conventional aircraft or drones. Shaped object emerged from the ocean before linking up with 3 other similar objects. The 4 then disappeared simultaneously with a high synchronized near instantaneous acceleration. I observed no sonic boom and no conventional propulsion signatures, no exhaust plume, no control surface articulation on the Sapphire image system. Shortly after the synchronized departure, radar tracks dropped.
Look at that guy behind him.
These observations were multi-sensor and recorded inside of ICC-1. with time location overlay visible in our source frames that have been made public by journalists. From my experience operating in this region over many years and consistent with our public characterized encounters, unidentified objects reoccur in United States operation areas off Southern California. That fact alone does not tell us what they are, but it does argue the systematic stigma-free reporting and for the preservation of sensor data so analysts can evaluate safe and intelligence implications with rigor. I want to underscore 3 points for the task force and the committee. Aviation and maritime safety. When crews and watchstanders observe objects that maneuver or accelerate in ways that does not match known profiles and do so near our ships and aircraft, that is, first and foremost, a safety issue. Standardized checklists and training should ensure we capture the best possible sensor data in real time, including IR settings, slant range estimates, and bearing and range altitude snapshots, and immediate chain of custody for any recordings. Reporting without stigma, protection without retribution. Sailors need to know that reporting UAP encounters will not harm their careers. Congress can help by reinforcing witness protection and by directing the relevant office to maintain confidential, destigmatized channels for service members who step forward with data. Declassification and transparency where possible. The task force declassification mission is directly relevant here. Where operational security permits releasing metadata preserved sensor excerpts or at least technical summaries would improve public trust and accelerate outside scientific scrutiny. That includes, when feasible, the time geo-reference IR frames and radar parameters needed for independent analysis. To be clear, I am not here to make claims beyond my lane. I am here to provide a first-hand account of what I saw, what our systems recorded, and why it matters for safety, for intelligence, and public confidence. My request to you is practical. Help us capture, protect, fairly evaluate the evidence, and provide a safe pathway for those in uniform to report it. In closing, I want to thank the committee and the task force for holding this hearing and for placing this discussion in a forum where evidence can be examined carefully and openly. I appreciate your attention and stand ready to answer your questions. Thank you.
I'm George Knapp, Chief Investigative Reporter at KLES TV in Las Vegas. I began my pursuit of this weird mystery way back in 1987, and for 38 years, I've always approached this as a news story. It's not a matter of faith or belief. To me, it's a story, and it's an important one. I'm proud to be here alongside these witnesses today, men who have seen strange things and stepped forward to tell the world about it. Whistleblowers and witnesses who step up are routinely insulted, belittled, or worse. They risk their reputations, their careers, their clearances, their livelihoods, and sometimes much more than that, even their freedom. I know that one of the goals of the task force here is to figure out ways to protect whistleblowers and witnesses, and it's a tall order because so many of the things that happen to witnesses like these are extra legal. They're carried out by persons unknown, as Mr. Dave Grush, sitting up at the top of the room, knows all too well, including events in recent days that have happened to him. I want to share a couple of things that I've learned along the way on this long journey, and I submitted most of that in written form because I estimate that my statement here today would take about 4.5 hours, so I'm going to try to jump over and touch on the more important salient points. I submitted a detailed written statement for the record, and we'll go into a lot of that here, but the public has been told over and over since the late 40s, there's nothing to worry about here. These mysterious craft seen by millions of people in the skies, in the oceans, over the land are not real. They're not a threat. The witnesses are wrong. They're crackpots. Don't believe it. That changed for me. What got me hooked is the paper trail. documents that were squeezed out of the U.S. government after the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, became the law of the land. And those documents paint a much different picture than what the public, the press, and Congress have been told over many years. The documents from military and intelligence personnel behind closed doors admit that, quote, these things are real. They're not fictitious. They can fly in formation. They're evasive, and they outperform any aircraft known to exist, including ours. The public, of course, as I said, has been told something much different. You know, back in 1989, I reported about a guy named Bob Lazar, who claimed that he worked at a facility dubbed S4 out in the Nevada desert, very near to Area 51. He said he was part of a reverse engineering program. He said there are alien craft that will be taken apart to figure out how they operated out there. And that was a pretty tall order. I had clearly taken a dive into the deep end of the pool there. But in the years since then, I've interviewed dozens of other people, and I've detailed what their testimony has been in the written statement. They include Senator Harry Reid, Senator Howard Cannon, also of Nevada, a guy named Al O'Donnell, who was the first general manager of EG&G in Nevada, which managed the Nevada test site, which blew up hundreds of nuclear weapons. There's a guy named Dr. James Lakatsky, who was a career scientist with the Defense Intelligence Agency, who was the guy who initiated a program called OSAP, Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Application Program, which is, as far as we know, the largest acknowledged UFO program ever funded by the U.S. government, which put together an amazing pile of information that members of this committee and the world, most of which have never seen. The DIA still hasn't released 95% of what was prepared by that program at a cost of millions and millions of dollars. The one name I do want to bring up in this session, though, is Robert Bigelow. So looking into the idea of crash retrievals and reverse engineering, while OSAP, that program, was active, the DIA's contractor, Robert Bigelow of Las Vegas, made a bold attempt to acquire physical proof of UFO crashes. It's been widely reported and suspected that Lockheed Martin is one of the contractors, the defense contractors, that has held this stuff, stored it away in secrecy.
Here's the other old lady right here. She's a sleeper.
Tried to figure out how it works. I have confirmed on the record that Robert Bigelow and a trusted colleague from OSAP met with and negotiated with senior executives at Lockheed Martin and hammered out a deal wherein Bigelow's company, Bass, would receive a quantity of unusual material that had been stashed away and protected at a facility in California. That material was not made here.
This is old news. We all know this story.
I want to move on now to the Russia files, because that was going to be sort of the central impetus of what I was going to talk to you about today. Back in the early 90s, I got into Russia, met with a number of their defense officials, Ministry of Defense and others, who confirmed for me that Russia had been doing the same thing that the United States had been doing, that is, secretly studying UFOs while publicly saying something completely different. The documents and interviews that I obtained and have now shared with this task force show that the USSR launched what is almost certainly the largest UFO UAP investigation in the world. The first phase of that was an order was sent out to the entire USSR military empire that every unit, you see anything strange in the sky, a craft, an orb, something unusual, you had to gather all the evidence, collect testimony from the witnesses, look for physical evidence, and all of that information went into one program at the Ministry of Defense. Thousands and thousands of these reports came in. A lot of them were first routed to the KGB, but then back to another program that came after this collection effort called Thread 3. And Thread 3 was an analysis program we have provided to the...
Wait, did you see what she just did? I couldn't stop watching this lady. Watch her over here. Watch this move.
But then back to another program that came after this collection effort called Thread 3. And Thread 3 was an analysis program. We have provided to the committee the documents of what they were trying to do, and essentially they were trying to build their own UFOs. They were using the information from their observations and studies to try to figure out that technology. The guy who was in charge of that program, Colonel Boris Sokolov, told me that their goal was to basically develop technology that would be superior to anything we had, based on what they learned from UFOs.
Mr. Knapp, just in the name of time,
Sure.
to my understanding, did you have anything you wanted to submit for Congress to see in this committee?
I have submitted those documents.
Would you like to play any videos? Do you have a video that you would like to play?
I don't think it's for me to play.
No, that was for Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander's video.
Okay.
You can play it. He could narrate it.
Okay. We can, in the name of showing that video to everyone on the task force, we'd like to play that video at this time.
Sure.
All right, let's watch this. We'll talk about the new news that came out today about not this video, but the big one that they showed that supposedly got shot with by a Hellfire missile. Sling blade or blades of fury or whatever they're called.
You call it the VVSS team.
This looks like Splash.
Yeah, like 22,000
I didn't care for this either.
That took off earlier.
Ooh.
If we can get rid of the
Look, when we're going to talk about the video, but not this one. This useless.
audio real quick. Mr. Wiggins and Mr. Knapp, we'll get back to what that video was in a moment, but we just want to make sure that it was entered into the record as well as all the documents. Those will be able to be publicly found for everyone in the country to view.
As nothing.
If we could, Mr. Knapp, we'll continue on the line of questioning, but I'm going to move on to Mr. Borland's opening statement.
My name is Dylan Borland, a former 1N1 geospatial intelligence specialist for the United States Air Force in an active duty enlisted capacity from 2010 to 2013. I've also been employed with BAE Systems and Intrepid Solutions as a senior analyst, expert in analyzing video, radar, and advanced electro-optical imagery for official identification of aerial order of battle as well as naval and ground order of battle. I'm a federal whistleblower, having testified to both the ICIG and ARROW with direct firsthand knowledge of and experience with craft and technologies that are not ours and are reportedly operating without congressional oversight. Because of my direct knowledge of the reality of certain legacy UAP programs, my professional career was deliberately obstructed, and I have endured sustained reprisals from government agencies for over a decade. From 2011 to 2013, I was stationed at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, conducting 24-hour operations via manned and unmanned aerial vehicles for Special Operations Forces in the global war on terror. During the summer of 2012, my team was on standby for weather, and I returned to my barracks on base, and at approximately 01:30, I saw an approximately 100-foot equilateral triangle take off from near the NASA hangar on the base.
I want you to just watch the way he speaks and Nusatelli. The way those two guys told these stories rang with it rang with truth to me. Their body language, the way they didn't have to read every single word, and if they did, they looked up at the people while they were speaking, so they didn't have to keep going back and remembering what happened because they were there. It happened. It's not fake unless they're actors and they learn their lines, and Lord knows they could give these guys a year to perfect everything they're doing that I'm talking about now to get by. But you know how crazy that would be to do that? Anyway, it's not that. It's not actors. These are real people, was what I'm saying. These people had these experiences. I believe them. But it doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything. It's just a story without evidence.
The craft interfered with my telephone.
But when you got guys like this telling the story about where they were and when it happened, and then it happens to them, I mean, that's coincidental.
Phone did not have any sound, and the material it was made of appeared fluid or dynamic. I was under this triangular craft for a few minutes, and then it rapidly ascended to commercial jet level in seconds, displaying zero kinetic disturbance, sound, or wind displacement. Some years after that experience, I was further exposed to classified information from the UAP legacy crash retrieval program through a sensitive position I held within a special access program. During this time, intelligence officers approached me in fear for their own careers, citing misconduct within these programs and similar retaliation that I was already enduring at this time. These issues include medical malpractice committed by Veterans Affairs staff, denial of work I performed while enlisted in the United States Air Force, forged and manipulated employment documents, workplace harassment, including colleagues being directed to not speak with me, manipulation of my security clearance by certain agencies, blocking, delaying, and ultimately removing my ability to be employed within the IC.
Wow.
The retaliation I face and the retaliation against individuals I know who worked in these programs is what convinced me in March 2023 to become a whistleblower. I came forward out of concern for people's lives and to ensure I did everything I could to let our elected representatives know the truth about what is really happening in the executive branch. At the end of March 2023, I agreed to meet with AARO following the suggestion of other federal officials believing it was what our nation required of me. I had reservations with AARO due to assessments they were reporting publicly at the time as a misrepresentation of the truth. Because of these concerns, I did not share sources and methods information in order to protect current and former federal personnel who had firsthand exposure to technologies of unknown origin. I did not want anyone to face further retaliation beyond what they had already endured. And unfortunately, a staff member ended up getting in some trouble because of that. After David Grush testified under oath in the summer of 2023 and provided historic disclosure, I was then asked to go to the ICIG and did so in August 2023. It was very clear early on during my intake interview, which was video recorded under oath, that the objective was to solely assess how much I know and not move forward with an investigation with new information I provided them. The aftermath of that IG complaint still troubles me to this day. Since my ICIG complaint, I've been prevented from resuming prior employment and can confirm I'm still blacklisted from certain agencies within the intelligence community. In addition, multiple agencies attempted phishing attacks to assess what I had divulged to the Inspector General, including being asked to disclose details of my ICIG complaint during a CI polygraph for a position unrelated to UFO UAP matters as recently as November 2024. As I sit before you today, I and many other whistleblowers have no job prospects, no foreseeable professional future, and a nation every single one of us came forward to defend. Numerous individuals have come forward in various ways to reveal the truth of the UAP reality as patriots and defenders of our nation. Yet many feel discarded, isolated, hopeless, separated from the country they serve. Efforts to rectify this situation for all whistleblowers have been difficult and troubling. And to my fellow whistleblowers and officials who know this information, I offer you my apology, something that I have never gotten, and I'm giving it to you. I swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States, an oath that demands truth and transparency for our democratic republic to function. Each day, these truths remain hidden from our citizens. Humanity drifts further from the principles our nation was founded to uphold. Each day, victims of crimes committed by agencies and companies maintaining this secrecy are denied justice as another day our Constitution is shredded. In 2023, Patriots provided this committee and the executive branch with undeniable proof of the UAP reality, and I commend your continued commitment. The future of humanity is one which we either travel to the stars or regress to the Stone Age with this technology. My career has been to deliver critical information to decision makers. Your role as elected by your representatives is to act on it. The time to act is now. Thank you.
I got to talk. Hey. So what it should be my next show. I should have called this show Revenge of the Whistleblowers. Let me tell you how I feel about what I'm hearing, because I don't know if anybody else feels the same way. And I don't know if I've ever felt like the way I feel, or maybe I couldn't find the words about how I'm feeling right now. I almost feel like, because what does a whistleblower do? It's going above the government or behind their back or doing whatever they have to do surreptitiously to get the truth out about what's going on behind the scenes. Reallocation of funds, secret programs, people getting ill and not getting any help, or people getting ill and then nobody holding anybody responsible, so they just die and without getting help, and so many things. It just doesn't make sense to me. And this guy, not this guy who's coming up, but the guy you just heard, you could see him get emotional at some point. But you're a whistleblower, right? You took the risk. And I feel like these whistleblowers are kind of wanting to get revenge against the government that won't listen to them, that shut them out, that cut them off, that took pilots and had them fly a desk for the rest of their career. Or that guy can't even get a job. He's homeless, man without a country, because he wanted to tell the truth about something he shouldn't have, in my opinion. Like, this is what I don't get. And I appreciate that these guys are going against the government, but I still think they're doing it all wrong. What do I think the right thing to do is? Nothing. Nothing. What are you going to do? You think your story is going to make the government go, you know what? Nusatelli said it the best. I mean, that hit me right there. You know what? Disclosure for everybody. No, it doesn't work that way. Every time we get these guys coming up here, I feel like lately, it's like, oh yeah, I'm mad because they, with me. And I want to tell shit now. I mean, that's the wrong attitude. You're taking your emotions. No, Rich, you're all wrong. I can hear it now. See, I don't like whistleblowers. I think they're idiots for doing what they're doing against the government that you won't win. That's what I mean. But Rich, aren't you that First Amendment guy? Aren't you about transparency? You're goddamn right I am. There's ways to do it. And I don't know. All I'm saying is what I'm seeing now feels like angry whistleblowers. Do they have a right to be angry at their government, or are they bringing it on themselves? That's the question. And I got to tell you, I know I'm up against a losing cause with the mentality of individuals, but as a group, as a whole, we could all come together and make change, but not against this. We can't get disclosure. None of us will ever. We couldn't march 10 million people if we wanted to. The government's going to say, hey, look at them now, 10 million. Half the country could march. Release the documents. Then they're just going to say no. Just like they've been doing for the last 80, 100,000 years, whatever it is now. I'm not saying give up. I would never say that. We know the corruption is there. Why do we need to keep banging our heads against the wall and having people like the guy we just saw lose his entire livelihood, lose his pension? But on the flip side, why I'm not a big fan of whistleblowers, because most of the time all the time they don't have evidence. And for them, it's a losing cause. I get it. Let's have the hearings. Let's ruin more lives. It's fun, right, Corbell? You're getting your face on TV. Why not? It's all it is for him. This has nothing to do with disclosure. Makes me sick.
I'm a senior policy counsel at the Project on Government Oversight, a nonpartisan independent watchdog organization that investigates and exposes waste, corruption, abuse of power, and when the government fails to serve the public or silences those who report wrongdoing. Whistleblowers are the first line of defense to root out waste, fraud, abuse of power, and corruption in our government. Congress relies on whistleblowers.
I have to stop it because I just said so much that refers to what he just said. To get the garbage out, right? And we should rely. The only thing I'm specific about, I want whistleblowers to come out for everything else except UFOs. You're not going to win. That's the only one. And Bigfoot, if they know the truth about what's under the Sphinx, if they know the truth about where the city of gold lies. Who knows? But this is a losing cause in ufology. It is. It's sad. I don't want these guys to keep doing it. without being protected. And God dang it, do they seem protected? If Grush allegedly had death threats and all of these guys had death threats, it's amazing. They all get death threats, yet everybody wants disclosure. Who are they getting death threats from? Oh, the government, you're saying. Well, can you name names? I can't do that. They'll kill me quicker. Oh. All right, I'm done. It's like, where does it end? It never ends. It's sad. I say, keep your mouth shut. You look straight ahead, get your pension, and go home. What are you going to prove? What are you doing? We got to let this is what America's built on. You got to fight against this shit, Rich. I know you want me to love whistleblowers for ufology, but I don't. They'll not. You just can't win. They need the cover story for whatever it is that's out there that they don't understand or do understand and aren't really telling us the truth. I think the government knows, like, not this government. I'm talking about what really runs the show. Who do you think that is? When we say, oh, it's all the elites, they get together under the big bird and they all talk about their problems. How are we going to really do things? But we have to do it in this ritualistic way. We got to dress up. We got to kill a few kids, babies. I don't know. What are we doing? Oh, pigs. Do they do that? Yes. Well, I don't know about the last part I said, but they do have that crazy shit going. Alex Jones broke that 30 years ago, 25 years ago. But who's really running the world? So we want to say, hey, yo, we had that Schumer. They tried getting that Schumer thing passed a couple of years ago, remember? And now they got the new one. What's the guy's name? 2 in the one, back in the front. Wait, 2 in the back, 1 in the front. What did I just say? See? I'm misfiring. All right, I'm going to shut up for a bit.
So that it can fully exercise its oversight and legislative authorities. It's understandable that former presidents of both parties have often taken a hostile approach toward whistleblowers. Their disclosures can embarrass the president and their political party or even lead to a national scandal. But whistleblowers continue to play a vital role during both Democratic and Republican administrations. They help Congress and the public identify and understand what government corruption looks like. Their disclosures fuel investigations and allow us to address wrongdoing and hold those responsible to account. That's why historically there's been a strong bipartisan consensus in Congress to support and protect whistleblowers. Doing so protects the country and ensures our government is more responsive and accountable to the people. National security whistleblowing in particular is a tradition going back to the founding of our country, and over time, national security whistleblowers and their disclosures have impacted some of the most fundamental issues and questions about how we wish to be governed and how our government can better serve its people. From the role the U.S. plays around the world to holding powerful actors accountable, government ethics and transparency, human rights and civil liberties, executive branch authority, First Amendment freedoms of speech and dissent, freedom of the press, and the public's interest and right to know. Despite this invaluable public service, blowing the whistle comes at great personal risk. Whistleblowers risk losing their jobs, careers, livelihoods, and reputations. They can face retaliatory investigations, lawsuits, and even serious criminal charges. And they can endure deep mental, emotional, and psychological harm. All of that risk to speak the truth, to ensure that agencies fulfill their core missions, and that they serve the best interests of the people. Those who retaliate against whistleblowers don't just violate their legal rights, they inflict real harm on our government and betray the public's trust. Targeting whistleblowers instead of the corruption they expose wastes agency resources and further allows that corruption to continue unaddressed. It can instill a chilling effect across an agency, fostering a climate of fear and distrust, quieting dissent and free speech, and deterring potential whistleblowers from coming forward in the future.
He is good, Dorothy.
Whistleblowers are often some of the most dedicated and principled public servants we have because of their willingness to put themselves on the line to do what's right. and Congress has historically supported them, again, on a bipartisan basis. But unfortunately, whistleblowing has increasingly become more politicized, with support for whistleblowers often hinging on which party is in power and which party is politically inconvenienced by the misconduct being exposed. But to be clear, targeting whistleblowers individually risks undermining whistleblowing, period. POGO advises members of Congress on both sides of the aisle to focus on the evidence, not the individual. We will always need whistleblowers to achieve the government that best serves its people, because when people of conscience, integrity, and good character refuse to speak up out of fear, complacency, or self-preservation, and leave corruption to fester behind closed doors, that is probably the most dangerous risk of all. If we are serious about increasing government transparency and restoring the public's trust, we need public servants committed to the truth. Whistleblowers need safe and effective channels to make lawful disclosures. They need stronger protections against retaliation. And when they do face retaliation, they need a fair shot to be made whole. Congress has made strides to pass whistleblower legislation, and these laws need to be updated and expanded so that whistleblowers truly receive the protections they need, retaliators are held accountable, and we can achieve the type of government the people deserve. We strongly urge Congress to continue its historic tradition of championing the rights and protections of all whistleblowers. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify here this morning. POGO is committed to working with you and the Oversight Committee to address these critical issues. I look forward to any questions.
Mr. Borland.
Yeah, that was really good. Dorothy's correct. Working to enhance whistleblowers' protections. You could hear it throughout his time. And everything he said, I thought was on point for what needs to be done, what has been done, and what's going on. It's scary. They need protection. If you're going to come forward, you got to get real protection. But you know what, everybody, as this goes on, and the more people come out and the more we do this, it will get easier for the whistleblowers. I know that. But it only takes one of them to come out with any evidence to say, holy McDonald's, that is unbelievable. Now, I believe that guy. Now you look at Jake Barber, and we heard that fantastic story. We saw the egg video, and the whole thing just falls apart. Now he's talking about psionics. He can call and summons UFOs at will all of a sudden. Because he had the experience with the egg. Get it? I haven't seen any evidence of that. I don't know about you. But it seems like they're after the whistleblower. If they're good at talking and they can keep it together and not worry about being, every day, they can go out and make another career out of this. Right? So, I don't know. Look for UFOs and aliens. Go to haunted places and use your psionics at haunted places, locations. Maybe go to Sedona. Maybe you can summon some ostrich eggs or something up there. I don't know. All right, here we go. Questions coming from the panels and such.
In your testimony, you described witnessing large triangular craft while stationed at Langley Air Force Base in 2012. Can you explain what you observed in terms of size, behavior, and why you're confident it was not conventional technology?
Great question, ma'am. So on barracks, on the base, I lived in the barracks. There was a little smoke pit outside. I was there on the telephone and looking across to the flight line, and I see a white light pop up and stop about 100 feet in the air. I thought it was a weather balloon. I've seen tests from there before, weeknight, normal thing, not surprising. I actually finished my cigarette and I began walking up towards the
Wake up, Grandma! She took a nap.
Flight line. There is a track, and because I was on 3 months of night work, I would walk the track at night when we were weather down. And as I began walking towards the light, towards the flight line and the track, the light then flies across the base, across the flight line, and as it flies to me, a triangle manifests around the light. I can't tell you if it's active camouflage. I can't tell you if it appeared around the light, but I can tell you that it was a white light and then it was a triangle. It stopped about 100 feet in front of me and approximately 100 feet above me. My telephone got extremely hot, completely froze, dead. I remember how thick it was. It was between 1 to 2 stories thick, equilateral triangle. I could never see the top of it, and the edges were 90 degrees. There were 4 lights in total, 1 light on each corner, and a larger light in the center, 2 to 3 times the size of the corner lights. But what was really odd was the outside. The best way to describe it is like looking at a James Webb telescope picture where you have the colors and then the black background. So the craft itself was this black metallic flake paint, but on top of the craft was this gold, lava, plasma, some type of fluid going over and around the craft. I'm under this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then the center light flashes 2 to 3 times, no sound, immediately shoots up to commercial jet level minimum, in my opinion. And I immediately feel static electricity all over my body, and then I smell the smell of after a thunderstorm or lightning storm, that really strong summer thunderstorm smell. Gets up to flight level. I'm trying to get my phone reset, and I can only see the center light at this point. If I didn't actually see it take off, I would have thought it was a star. And then it hovers up there, and it begins to slowly move due east out over the Atlantic Ocean. I finally got my phone reset. The entire thing was about, from the time I saw the light pop up near the hangar until it took off out over the ocean, was about 15 minutes.
David Wilcox, not Wilcox. No, I pretty much slept. Like when I got home yesterday, I fell asleep. I got home at what, 2:30, 3:30, somewhere in there. Fell asleep about 4:30, and then I literally couldn't walk or do anything that whole night. And then I slept all day today, so I haven't had a chance to even look at emails. I didn't even think of emails because I see I've got 181, and it's going to take a while for me to go through them. So I know half of them are whatever, but no, I know once I start looking at emails, it's going to be an hour at least. So I didn't have the energy. I slept all day so I could do this. I barely did it. Yeah, and I had coffee. I shouldn't have had coffee either. I had coffee for you guys. Anyway, thank you, David Wilcox, not Wilcox, with the $20 question. Did you have a chance to check my video I sent? PayPal not working for me. Thank you for the $20 super chat. We just need what? 4 more? 4 more. I appreciate it, David Wilcox, not Wilcox. So this guy also had an experience. See, this is weird to me, guys. Don't you think it's weird that they're having these personal experiences after, like, they knew what was going on? They've seen and had their whistleblower ideas in their head. Don't you feel like they're kind of being singled out by this technology that could or could not be by Lockheed? Now, why would Lockheed need to be around these people watching them? Oh, there's the whistleblower. There goes that guy. That's the guy who talked to Jeremy Corbell. Right? That's the guy. Get him. Show him what we can do. Doesn't make any sense. So I often wonder to myself when I hear them tell us these stories, are they telling us the stories to validate what they think is going on in the government, what they know is going on in the government, or what could be about to happen in the government? Maybe it's just to solidify their valid claim according to them. That's it. Ties it all in with the UFO sighting I had. I had a personal sighting. You did? Oh, well, now I believe you. Doesn't work like that, guys. Sorry. Come up with another way to make money. Get out of my ufology if you're going to start making stuff up. Yes, my ufology. I was here first.
And following up to that question, after you disclose this information to the intelligence community, Inspector General,
Thanks,
you're
David.
subject to phishing attempts and job blacklisting. How widespread do you think this is across the intelligence community for those who raise concerns regarding UAP programs?
It's a difficult question to answer. I think prior to David Grush and people beginning this process of bringing people into awareness of the reality of these programs and certain things people have witnessed, probably extremely widespread. I think today there's still an issue, but because people are able to come before you and people are speaking out, I think it has been somewhat less. I would hope, though, that people would, because if this goes back into closed doors, this is going to get really ugly.
What type of behavior have you witnessed from former Aero director Sean Kilpatrick as well as his staff in relate to this information you provided to them? Did they ever try to classify this information as non-human technology?
No.
Good question. The problem with this is that I know what I experienced firsthand, and I know other things. I think the staff at Aero that I met with in March of 2023, I think they were good people doing the job they were told to do. I did not meet with Kirkpatrick. He was either not present or did not want to meet me that day. However, they did classify information about the reality of this subject, and it was very concerning because in my Aero MFR, they had actually referenced a former staff member that was the one who told me to go there, and they probably shouldn't have done that.
And real quick before my time is up, and we might go to second round of questioning just so you're all aware, how important, given everything that you've seen and experienced, is the UAP Disclosure Act of 2025 in restoring both public accountability and trust?
I think very important. I would hope, though, that the 7-year window could be shrunk, my opinion, but very important. The truth needs to be known.
Mr. Wiggins, I want to talk to you. I find.
What does the truth look like to you guys? What does it look like? Think about it.
Your background and testimony compelling. When you first saw what you were looking at, what were your first thoughts?
My first thoughts were, I think everything that I was told and taught as a kid and as growing adult no longer, was applicable if I'm able to.
So as soon as he sees this UFO, he automatically goes to think the first thought, you heard it, was everything I knew as a child for till now has been dismissed with what I'm seeing. I can't believe it. Really? That's the first thing you go to? You don't think, could that be a plane? Could that be a test thing? Yeah, none of that. Just, never seen it before. Can't be anything. Got to be alien.
See something that I thought defies gravity in such a way, then what else could be possible? That was my first thought.
So did you think what you were looking at was a weapons program that you were unaware of, or did you think what you were looking at was obviously some?
Your first thought should always be to get the camera. What is with you people? Camera, camera, then you see. Say it. Camera, camera, then you see. You take a picture of the thing and you may forget. And then you give it to me. I can't do this anymore. I quit.
Extraterrestrial piece of technology.
Neither one of those crossed my mind. It was just.
How about now? What do you think it is now?
I'm not the expert. I think it. I want to be as skeptical as everyone else and just hope to know the information.
Anyone in the U.S. government tell you what you were looking at to try to dissuade you from what you thought it was?
No.
So no one was like, oh, there was some anomaly with the technology. No one from the government did that?
No one.
How do you think you were treated when you reported this information or have talked about, the Tic Tac video is well out there. It's well reported. How were you treated?
I've had no pushback at all. I haven't had anyone reach out to me or try to, dissuade me in either direction, militarily speaking. So I was treated fair, and I appreciate the Navy itself with assisting me with coming here to being able to testify.
That's good. So what do you think the American people should take away from watching your video, right? Because when we watch it, obviously, right? We've never seen anything like that. It defies what we know to be technologically possible. What are we supposed to think? Someone's lying about something. Someone's hiding something, right? That's not normal what you looked at.
I think what the American people should think when seeing that video, along with others before me, is that there is something out there, and we should know as the people what it is.
Right, and so let's eliminate possibilities. So they didn't come to you and say there was a technological error with what you were looking at. So we put that aside, right? They didn't say it was broken. So we look at that and we see something. So it's either a weapons program being reverse engineered by our governments or other governments, or it's nobody's government, and it's not from here. Those are it. You agree with that assessment?
I agree. One or the other.
What do you and your friends think about it today? You all have talked about it. Yeah. I mean, so what do you think about your experience as a collective group? That'll be my last question, Madam Chairwoman.
I mean, we've been talking about this for 20 years. We don't know what we saw. What we saw changed our lives and the way we think about everything. It was incredibly profound. The object I saw, I don't even know if it was an object. It was a light. It was an orb. It didn't look like a craft, but it did look solid. And that's what we talk about. We noticed the object,
have it three
and this was
ways.
a pattern across all the encounters. Someone would see a light. They would pay attention to the light. And then the object responds. It performs for you. And then they come down and they investigate you. So it's almost like they're curious. So that's the thing we primarily talk about. Why did it come? After we noticed it. Maybe it noticed us after we noticed it.
Oh, boy.
I only have 1 minute left. So, Mr. Knapp, we were definitely going to you. Watch every documentary. You guys have done you and Jeremy have done a terrific job. I usually have more questions than I have answers. I think we all do, and you guys are doing a terrific job to bring information to the public. Do you think that any of this is a psyop by the U.S. government?
Entirely possible. I mean, our government and other governments have admitted that they've tried to use UFOs to cover secret projects, but I think they also do some reverse engineering of those claims. So years after people start seeing UFOs over Area 51, for example, they come up with the story, oh yeah, that was, we planted that story. So I read in a major newspaper just a couple of weeks ago, they planted this story. An Air Force colonel went out into the desert, went to a bar at Rachel, and gave them some fake UFO photos, and that's how the whole story about Area 51 started, which is preposterous.
Yeah, and I didn't even get to the crash retrieval program stuff yet, Ms. Chairwoman. There's just so much. Okay, thank you so much for your time today. I wish we had more time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
That's what it seems like, right?
I now recognize Mr. Burchett from Tennessee for 5 minutes.
2 in the back,
Thank
1
you,
in the
Chair
front.
Lady, and thank you, Ranking Member Crockett. I see a lot of friends out there, and I see a couple enemies, so I'll kind of remember that. But it's a pleasure being here. I want to remind people, too, this thing is an ongoing deal. We're not going to get this overnight. We've been fighting this battle, some of y'all, for 30 years and maybe longer. I hope we just keep focused on what we're trying to get to is total disclosure. We get a little wrapped up in a lot of things, but the government has something, and they need to turn it over to us. We pay their dadgum salary, you pay our salary, and you ought to get more out of us than you do. And that's what disgusts me about this whole thing. I think they're just trying to run the clock out on us, really.
Of course.
They'll poke us a little, and they'll make jokes to us and try to pull us off the target, but I think we know where we're at, and that's why they're firing at us, because we are over the target.
Yep.
My first question is, Mr. Knapp, I recently introduced the UAP Whistleblower Protection Act to help provide whistleblower protection to federal personnel for disclosing the use of federal taxpayer funds to investigate UFOs. I still don't want to say UAPs. How can Congress further increase whistleblower protections?
I think you got to unleash the dogs and go track down the money and where it goes, because a lot of this stuff has been moved out of government. Sure. As you know, Rep. Burchett, it's been given to private contractors who've stashed it away. They've had it for so long that there's nobody left inside government, or very few, who know where it is.
And they do that to keep us from FOIA, correct?
Yeah, it's to keep it from FOIA.
They keep it from FOIA, not Foyer. It's FOIA, which is Freedom of Information Act. So if the government was working on UFOs or had a secret UFO program and you found out the name of it, you could go to any government in your local city, go to City Hall, I recommend it, and ask to make a FOIA request for that UFO secret thing you found out. And you could get it because it was from the government. But over the last 30 years, everything's been moved over to subcontractors and contractors and unknown contractors and black budget contractors. And nobody knows where anything goes, and nobody knows what anybody really has, which is why we're in the situation with the drones. Right now, they're calling drones, they're ours. Oh, are they Lockheed's? Oh, I don't know. Right? It's no longer UFOs. It became one of ours. Man-made. Isn't that interesting? So, we don't know where anything goes. And guess what you can't do? You can't make a FOIA request from an outside government source. Sorry, Charlie. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, and I think that the contractors who've had this stuff for a very long time set their own standards about who is allowed to know what, and it's a very small group that ever cracks that. I think Representative Luna has been looking at the use of classifications to hide things. I'm not sure that even this committee getting security clearances that should allow you to see this stuff would allow you to follow where it really goes.
I worry about the people that are looking at it and don't even know what they're looking at. I mean, it's gone through so many, since Roswell, for instance. I mean, you think there's nobody even alive that was around any of that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think they've made much progress from the people that I've talked to. I don't think they've made much progress in learning that technology. Might have made some, but you wonder, the implication is tic-tac. Oh, yeah, that's ours. What flew over Washington, D.C. in '52, is that ours too? When are you going to break that out? You guys authorized tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars on weapon systems that can't do half of what we've seen UFOs do. So when do they break this out? If it's really a classified project, could change the world. I don't think they've made much progress, and I think they've been lying to us and to you and the rest of the world, and they're still doing it.
Of
yes,
course.
sir, I agree with you. How did you manage to obtain the classified Russian UAP documents, and how did you get them back in the United States?
Well, I met this Russian physicist who was in the United States lecturing.
And I want to clarify that. I can't even take a thing of honey home on my airplane when I fly back to Tennessee.
Yeah,
so
I did something pretty dumb.
And I'm bitter about it, but go ahead.
I did something kind of dumb. I met with these officials who, during that time period, glasnost, perestroika, the Russians were trying to open up to the world, and I saw it as a window of opportunity, and it was. And we were able to talk these folks into providing us information that otherwise we would never have seen. Some of that was classified. I found out that they only stamped the top pages of these documents that were classified, so I just removed them. I removed those pages, and I carried them out. And if they'd caught me, I'd be in a gulag still.
Yeah. We'd be saying, what happened to George Knapp? Oh, yeah. What happened to the Russians that came forward to you in 1993, and were there any repercussions for them?
Well, there were. The first thing that happened when I talked about this after getting back and going through the files and things and sifting through it, the Russian physicist who had helped us introduced all these people wrote back and said there was a huge eruption, that there was the real right, far autocratic forces that wanted a return of the USSR had really go after these guys. They described them as traitors. Nikolai Kapranov, the physicist friend of mine, said, look, if this had happened 5 years earlier, we would be in prison. If it had happened 10 years earlier, we would have been shot. Right. Luckily, at that point, Putin was not in power, but none of those people that we talked to on that trip in 1993 would ever talk to me again. I went back in 1996, and it was like I had the plague. I spoke to different people, but they were scared. And eventually, the story was spun where the Ministry of Defense officials who gave us this information were described as ufologists who said there was nothing really significant to these files. They didn't really find anything a big deal. And I can tell you, you'll see those files that I shared with you, they did find stuff. There was an incident in October of 1982 over an ICBM base where UFOs popped up, was observed over this base where the missiles are pointed at us, United States. These UFOs perform incredible maneuvers. They split apart, they fuse back together, they'd appear and disappear. And right at the end of this 4-hour period, the launch control codes for the ICBMs lit up. Something entered the correct codes. The missiles were fired up and ready to launch, and they could not shut it down. The Russian officers were panicking. The UFOs they disappeared. The launch control system goes back to normal. Colonel Sokolov and his team came in, took the thing apart, could not figure out what it was. It wasn't a power surge or EMPs or some of the baloney excuses that our country has given for similar events involving our nuclear missiles. They thought it was a message from wherever the UFOs were from. And that's a chilling thing. I mean, we were a couple of seconds away from World War III starting, and the UFOs were responsible for it.
All right.
Chief Wiggins, based on your training and operational experience, could the behavior that you witnessed, a transmedium object vanishing without a sound, be explained by any known technology that we possess or other governments possess?
It cannot. No.
And has any government agency debriefed you or any of your shipmates regarding the EOIR and radar confirmed UAP encounter aboard USS Jackson?
No one has, no, ma'am.
What was that encounter like when you brought that up? If you want to briefly summarize that, when you brought that to their attention and then you were not provided any follow-up, who was told and how did you feel when there was no contact back to you?
As far as the actual incident happening,
yes,
or
sir.
the reporting level?
Yes, Chief.
It was within the event happening. My duties are to report to the tactical action officer on watch while we're standing watch. So tactical action officer was there. I made my report. I've not had any discussion outside of that day. There's been no communication to me or requests from me within side of the military. But speaking of that actual incident itself, once the report was made to the tactical action officer, that's when I made the decision to ask the individual watchstander that was controlling Sapphire to be able to slew into the location. And that's what you see in the video itself is when the watchstander is slewing in and kind of showing us what we're looking at. But outside of that, that's as far as the reporting went that I know of.
Thank you, Chief. Just for the sake of time, Mr. Nusatelli, has RO, the Air Force, or the FBI ever followed up with you personally about the Red Square event?
I did have follow-up by Aero, nothing with the Air Force. The Aero office updated me, I think, at least 2 times. They let me know that they were unable to locate any records, that the records had been destroyed by the Air Force. The Air Force is destroying all their police records every 3 years on a schedule. So
you were informed that these documents were destroyed.
Well, I have a Freedom of Information Act from the Air Force that states clearly that they destroy all police records on a 3-year schedule.
Okay. So they were sitting on documentation, destroyed it, refused to question any of the lead investigators, anything leading into this investigation?
Yeah, basically they destroyed all the police records. So you couldn't even call the Air Force and ask them if there was a vehicle accident in that time frame. So that's a big problem. We're losing data in real time. So we'll never be able to go back and track.
I think our federal government has a history of destroying records. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Nusatelli.
Look, I'm not jumped to the conclusion that I believe that there are, aliens coming from another planet. But I'm open to that. And I think that it's our responsibility, especially when we're seeing that we have a government that is actively blocking information from us. Just last night, I tried to get an amendment onto the National Defense Authorization Act that fit in the germaneness of that bill to have UAP disclosure. And conveniently, it was named non-germane, mostly deemed by staff, not even an elected official. This is the kind of stuff that we repeatedly see. Last year, we were blocked by someone in House administration from being able to receive a full briefing from Arrow. So not an elected official, but someone in staff blocked us. And I've had it. Enough is enough. I want to cue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe. This was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. That you cannot see that drone, and so you'll. And
all right. We'll watch the video, and then I'm going to talk about the news that came out today about this video.
I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
Here we go. That was the missile that hit the rocket, or that hit the UFO. Alleged. Now here it is zoomed out.
This is when it zoomed out, so you can still see it traveling.
I want. Never mind.
So, Mr. Knapp, do you have any? Have you heard about events like this occurring, and what information might you have?
I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our episodes a while back. We did not have the video, though. There are servers where there's a whole bank of these kind of.
All right. So what is going around the internet today about that video? And you can go to Vetted if you want to see, what he says about it, because he kind of broke the story in a way. Not really anything major other than what type of Hellfire is this and what did it really hit? Now, they've said orb, they've said disc-shaped object. I mean, they said maybe tic-tac shaped, I think. So they don't even know. Now, Burleson just got that video. He was just handed that video. He knows nothing about it, we found out. He went on News Nation and talked about the video. And they asked him about it. And he says, somebody just gave, nobody knows where it came from. And George Knapp said he and Jeremy talked about it on Weaponized, but Vetted said he looked and couldn't see any mention of them talking about that UFO, that video at all. Now, he would have had to have gone through a year and a half of, I don't know how Vetted could have done that in 24 hours. But, some people just type in something on their channel and they think that's enough to do the search. It's not enough. Anyway, there's a lot of problems with this video. Now, Vetted also showed that there's a Hellfire missile that doesn't explode like a normal bomb. So it can't be called a bomb. Why? Because it has these 6 blades that detach from it with missile guidance and fins. And if you're standing, they told a story about how they use this Hellfire. You can't hear it coming. The missile will be fired, and then the 6 blades release off of it, and the Hellfire just falls to the ground or whatever. And now these blades are flying through the air. It's called ninja death or something, ninja fire. I don't know. I could just look at Vetted's video. You'll see the whole thing. But you'll be standing there not knowing anything. Go take a sip of coffee. Next thing you know, you're liquefied. And this is such an accurate thing, these Hellfire missiles, this ninja death, that when you're going to give somebody a target, you need to give them what seat they're sitting in and whether it's the front or the back. That's how accurate these things are. So what they do with the reason they invented these, it's because in public places, these guys, like the bad guys, like to hide. So they can find out where they are and limit the damage to civilians to zero. It's amazing. This sickening, liquefying ninja technology that comes off these Hellfire missiles. It's crazy. The reason I tell you all of that, because usually that object, that Hellfire missile is used from ground to air, right? And also another way, but this is the first time anybody's ever seen it. Oh yeah, ground to air or ship to air, I think. I'm not sure. But this is the first time on video they think we're seeing one of these Hellfire missiles being used air to air. And now they think that Burleson was handed this video to put fear into the enemy, to show them, look what our shit can do now. We can do it from anywhere. We don't have to be near you. We don't have to be over here watching you. We can just send it in and it'll find you. It's pretty cool. It's amazing. And we still can't get to the moon, but we're getting good at killing. Really good. So that's the mystery behind this, believe it or not. Nobody knows where the video, nobody knows why this video was released, but some people are believing that the video was released to show the technology of this new Hellfire ninja terror that can fly. So it's trying to put fear into the terror. Anyway, I don't know if that's true, but we may have seen, we don't know what the object was. No, but they don't know if it's a UFO. But whatever the object was, it was hit with this, right? And it kept going. And then everybody's like, well, how could a UFO stop a Hellfire? Well, did you see an explosion? Did you see fire? No, you just saw debris. And they'll show it again. It's kind of cool that we're seeing this for the first time. I am anyway, but it's pretty scary too. I could be sitting here right now. I wouldn't even hear it come in. Next thing I know, and you guys would see me get skewered. That's the way I want to go. All right, let's hear the rest. All right, so that's the story behind the video right now. I can't believe I remembered all that.
Videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, that the public hasn't been allowed to see. Occasionally some of that stuff gets out in the wild and it comes our way. It should be going to you. The public should be seeing this stuff. And why you're not allowed to, I don't know. But that's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off. And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah. What the hell is that? What flies like that?
Again, I'm not going to speculate what it is, but the question is, why are we being blocked from this information consistently? And you had you reported James Lakatsky came to you with government possession of NHI craft and how they ultimately gained entry. Can you testify to the veracity of that claim?
Dr. Lakatsky is an honorable man who served most of his career with the DIA, a very trusted, high-level rocket scientist and intelligence analyst who inspired the OSAP program, as I said earlier. And in full disclosure, I've co-written 2 books with him.
I don't care.
Mr. Knapp, I've watched many of your videos on Joe Rogan and other places. One of the big questions, I think, for many of us is why do you believe that the federal government refuses to be transparent about this issue?
Here we go.
I think there's probably multiple reasons. At the start, when these things first started invading our skies in large numbers, we were scared. It was right after World War II, and we didn't know what they were, and they didn't want to panic the public, and that was probably a good call. Over time, I think the lying sort of became institutionalized, Flights over Washington, D.C. in 1952, they're seen, they're captured on radar, jets are chased after these objects, and then we get an explanation it was a temperature inversion. And those kind of lies have been told for a long time. what was told to me by an investigator from Congress, a guy named Richard D'Amato, who was sent after this story by Robert Byrd and Harry Reid. He came out to Nevada, tried to get into Area 51, did get in there, looked around, talked to people, trying to get to the bottom of it. He believed that this program, reverse engineering, et cetera, was inside, had been moved inside these corporations. And he said, when this comes out, people are going to go to prison. And he meant people who were basically misusing legitimate national security funds, tens of billions of dollars, in order to keep this cover-up going. I also believe there's a legitimate reason for the cover-up in that there is undeniable connection of national security involved in this technology. If we are racing for it to master that technology against the Russians and the Chinese, which is what I have been told by Senator Reid and many others, then it is a race that's critical to our survival. There could be a form of disclosure, I think. Yes, it's real. It's from somewhere else, without revealing all the details that would allow someone else to have an advantage in the race for this technology.
Thank you.
My first question is to Mr. Knapp. Mr. Knapp, how do we know that the files that you obtained from the former Soviet government are not BS and just given to you as a disinformation campaign against the U.S. government?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I shared some of them with the Senate Intelligence Committee when I first got back because that was requested by the Russians, who shared some of that information with me. Secondly, I gave all of that material to the DIA through BASS, the OSAP program. Sorry for the acronyms.
Can you name names real quick? Sorry.
At BASS or OSAP?
Who did you give them to directly?
I gave them to Robert Bigelow and to Jim Lukatsky. And they hired a whole team to go through them and retranslate them and analyze it, and they created a structure of how the UFO programs in the USSR and Russia were put together. They said they were real. The other person who said they were real is David Grush.
Okay. Lukatsky, right? And the other guy, Grush, they're all of like minds. Of course they're going to think it's real. Oh, boy. You know, when you're leaning a certain way in thought, get an outside source that has nothing to do with ufology. The only thing they deal with is contracts and top secret documents and shit like that. Don't get these knuckleheads going, yeah, you know what? I can call in UFOs. Yeah, that's a real document. I can science everything. Science? I don't know what it's called. I forgot. Psionics? Yeah.
And then finally, Mr. Borland, when you engaged with Arrow in 2023, you noted that their public statements did not match
that's what we need.
The reality that you and others had witnessed. In your assessment, what were the key limitations of Arrow?
You know, I would put it to you this way. The statement Arrow has made is scientific evidence of extraterrestrials. Scientific evidence requires a scientific control. Extraterrestrial is an entity on another planet. The only way to scientifically prove extraterrestrial is we have to go to that planet, acquire technology, bring it back, and compare it to what we have here.
So you're saying they won't let anything out because, or they won't come forward unless they confirm that unless they go to the planet and confirm where its origin is.
That would be scientific evidence, yes.
You see this guy shaking his head? Mr. Borland is right, though. I'll tell you why. The only way you can verify 100% that it's from another planet is to go there and see if they have them on the shelf. Am I wrong? That's what this guy's saying. No wonder why the guy's shaking his head. I thought that was hilarious right there. Let's take a look again.
And confirm where its origin is.
That would be scientific evidence, yes. And by that statement, Arrow found no scientific evidence of extraterrestrials is basically, I don't want to call it a psyop, but a misrepresentation, because we do have things. But making that statement is not technically a lie. It's a misrepresentation of the full truth.
I'm going to go to you, Mr. Knapp, first. You've interviewed numerous UAP whistleblowers over the years. Question is, how do you verify their claims before deciding they're credible enough to report on?
I tell you guys are green.
It's a combination of factors. First, you check their credentials. Did they really serve where they said they did? And did they work where they said they did? Are there any other witnesses? Is there visual proof, film, footage, things of that sort? You ask the people around them that know them, that used to work with them. If they're credible people, that's one way. You know, I think about Arrow, the organization that this body created to deal with witnesses and whistleblowers. I hope I'm not taking too much of your time here, but they invited people to come forward, service members who knew, saw things and had experiences. And I can tell you that the people that I have talked to who went through that are deeply disappointed. There was a guy named Bob Jacobs who was a lieutenant attached to Vandenberg in 1964. His unit would record missile tests. They recorded all of them. On one of these particular tests, a UFO comes out of nowhere, zaps what looks like a laser beam at what would have been a nuclear dummy, a nuclear weapon, and disabled it. And he is called into the commander's office. Two guys in suits clip that film footage out that shows the UFO, and he's ordered to never talk about it. He comes forward to Arrow. He heeds the call, thinking he's doing his duty as an American to tell that story, and they completely dismissed him. They made up a story that they had tracked down the original footage, and there was nothing like that in it. Well, there was no original footage. It had been taken away the day the footage was recorded. He's deeply disappointed. People like Bob Salas, who had worked at a nuclear ICBM base, who saw UFOs flying over the base, and these missile silos were taken down. He went to Arrow, too, and was completely disregarded. It almost looks like Arrow operated as a counterintelligence operation to get people to come in, tell their stories, and then discredit all of them. I can't imagine that any whistleblower or witness will ever go to Arrow again because of what happened under the first director, who's now long gone, but still seems to act as the spokesperson for that organization.
And I would say, Madam Chair, maybe at some point we need to really dig deep into Arrow, and I would encourage us.
Oh, I'd be happy to send maybe a subpoena to Mr. Kilpatrick.
That'd be fun.
Another question for you, Mr. Knapp. What is, in your view, having investigated this issue for so many years, what is the long game with respect to disclosure of this information to the public? Because with the advent of essentially a video camera and a high megapixel phone in everybody's pocket, at some point this information is going to be impossible to withhold from the public. What do you think is the long game here?
Well, the secret's out. I mean, how many videos have there been already? You know, videos that are leaked from within the military and intelligence agencies and contractors and censor platforms. It's out there. But they have the high ground. The people that don't want us to take it seriously dismiss it, discredit the witnesses, come up with a cover story. I mean, it's been out there a long time. The public senses that it's real, and the people in authority dismiss them. It's a game that's been going on a long time, and I don't think they're ever going to release it. I think that there's an attitude among the people that have been involved in this for a long time that the public doesn't deserve to know, and that the public probably can't handle it, but they can.
Real quick, I'd like to ask the committee to replay that video that Burleson had played earlier. I want to ask every witness here.
You know, everybody who says that the public can handle the truth is somebody who's been in this field for at least 5 years consistently. I'll tell you why. We get desensitized to everything. We get so used to talking about all the people and the sightings and the hearings and everything that to us, we're like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready, right? That's what you're saying. I'm ready. But what about people who don't even know what's going on? They have no idea what a UAP is. They're out there. They're everywhere. The message isn't as broad as we think it might be or should be. I bet you 20% of the population doesn't know that. Wait, no, 80% of the population doesn't even know a damn thing. It could be 90. I'm going to go with 90. I'm going to go with 90% of the population doesn't know what UAP stands for. Shit, some of us don't know. But 80% of the people know that UFO was, didn't they change UFO to something? But the public is not ready, George. You're ready. I'm ready. Our crowd here is ready, right? We're ready because we've been educated or we've had an experience. That's who I'm worried about. The people who've had real experiences and then all of a sudden there's disclosure and the aliens they were abducted by are now on the planet for all the world to see. Hey, I was the one that abducted you. Sorry, I didn't wear a glove. But we had to do what we had to do. Come on. These guys don't think it through. They just want the answers. That's all. So you think, George, tomorrow we say aliens are here, the public would go, yay, and then the next day we're back to normal? I don't. How do you even do disclosure? I mean, really, how do you do it? Crazy. It's so difficult. That's why we're never going to have it. You just can't. You just can't. You can't inform the people. The only way you can inform the public is to force it on them. And then say, look, this is serious shit. We're shutting down the world for a week. Except for we need everybody to study about the aliens that are coming here. Get educated so you don't freak out. That's scary. If you ever had that happen. So how do you do it? You gradually integrate it, like I said many years ago, and have a 24/7 channel that is constantly teaching people. Now, I think if you really want to put it on the people, at least every country does it their own way, but have a system to where if your name is A through G, you're going to take the test about the aliens and you need to get at least a passing grade. 64%, whatever, right? 60, all right. So you got to get 6 out of 10 or 60 out of 100 correct. You need to learn about this before they get here in a year. And they give us a year to learn about the aliens. And then next thing you know, they come here, some of us can speak the language maybe, or we're not as scared as when we see them. And those who have been abducted and ripped apart by aliens or impregnated and had the babies ripped out, don't worry about it, not going to do it anymore. Please. This is an impossible task in this day and age.
Specifically ones that have sensor training or have been able to recognize some of this movements real quick. So if you guys can please roll that real quick.
All right, watch the debris. Here it comes. 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, Charlie. And there's the debris. Isn't that weird? Kind of follows.
Okay, while this is still rolling, Mr. Nusatelli, real quick yes or no answers. Are you aware of anything in the government, United States?
Did you notice no explosion, no fireball, no smoke? Right? Isn't that wild? It's just to show the enemy we got the weapon to work air to air. So try some shit, please. Just do it.
It's government arsenal that can split a Hellfire missile like this?
No.
And do whatever blob thing it did and then keep going? Nothing?
Nothing.
All right, how about you, Chief Wiggins?
Nothing to my knowledge, ma'am.
Okay, and how about you, Mr. Borland?
I prefer to answer that in a skiff.
Okay, does this video scare you guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wiggins?
Yes.
Nat?
Yeah.
I had a different reaction. I was really happy that it got out. Thanks for providing
Curiosity
that,
kills the cat. All right, Mr. Borland?
Yes, for...
Okay. All right, that is the end of my questioning.
Chief, I was on a ship for a little bit. I was a gunner's mate on the USS Gettysburg for a couple of years. My question to you is, when you had your encounter and you saw it on the screen, you were in the CIC, is that correct?
That's correct. On an LCS ship, the CIC is on the bridge, so it's called ICC-1, but yes, same.
Did a bunch of the other folks in the CIC come and check out what you were looking at?
Yes, we all did. The tactical action officer, myself, the RCO, and 2 others that were on watch. We were all in the same space, so we were all looking at the Sapphire screen all at the same time.
Because in the other couple instances with the witnesses, you guys just saw it by yourself. Is that correct? Mr. Borland, you saw it by yourself?
For me, yes, sir.
Mr. Nusatelli, you saw this by yourself?
No, there were multiple witnesses in every case at Vandenberg.
Okay. How long did that encounter take place, Chief?
So the encounter itself, from the time I recognized on my radar to the time after the video ends, was probably about 5 to 7 minutes.
What speed was the object moving at?
When I first witnessed off the port bridge wing the object moving out of the water, what I thought was originally just a light on the water or something on the horizon, and surfacing and going into the air, I then knew it was an air contact. But as an air controller myself, I started thinking and going through kind of like my checklist in my mind. Could it be a helo? But it's not blinking lights. So I then realized this is something I've never seen before. So the speed itself, just going from the horizon to about maybe 4,000 feet in the air, was very slow, slowly rising. And then it sped up. I'm not an expert at knowing specific speeds of aircraft just by visual eye, but I would say
He kinda
probably
bored me a little
1,
bit,
2
but-
Mach instantly into the rest of the formation. I didn't
I don't
notice
think we need to hear
visually
him
with
that
my own
much.
eyes the other 3 objects until.
Mr. Knapp, in your testimony and in this document, you detail an event that happened in Russia where their nuclear missiles were activated, and we were close to a World War III at that time, which is startling to hear. It's also good to know that as we have investigated the JFK.
All right, guys, I'm going to advance to the end of this because I want to show you the vetted part.
Moment. But when you look back through the hearing and the evidence that's been presented, if you're going to point the American people to one piece of evidence to start their journey on this topic, what would you suggest, sir?
One piece of evidence.
Look at G.
I would start with.
First of all, why is James Fox in the seats, in the audience? Because he's the new grift. Why are we having documentarians, James Fox and Jeremy Corbell, in this room? They're filmmakers. And Jeremy's a disinfo agent, and James Fox has got to be the worst investigator I've ever seen for a documentarian. The worst. He may put out a good movie several years ago, Phenomenon, whatever it was. But since then, he's been grifting hard. I'm surprised they put that guy there. So he's saying now, this Nusatelli's, the question was, what would you start someone's go down the rabbit hole? What video evidence or what evidence would you tell someone to go to if they want to go down the rabbit hole of UFOs?
With this hearing, in the first hearing.
So he says start with the first hearing with Grush.
There is no evidence.
But is there a specific, exactly, but is.
Wait, what? Did he just say there's no evidence?
I would start with this hearing, in the first hearing.
Listen.
There is no evidence.
But
We're going to end it right there. That's it, pretty much. You're not going to hear anything different. I thought it would be really compelling to end it right there with him saying there is no evidence. Because there isn't. Oh, I'm sorry. There isn't verifiable There's no verifiable evidence. That's it. That's the bottom line. And I think whistleblowers, like I said early on, are spinning their wheels for no reason. But is it the right thing? Well, I say no reason because we never get anywhere. But what now I know what's going on here. I'm not blind. They want to get the evidence out, the stories out anyway, because the more shit you can stack up in these hearings, it gives more validity to their stories. No, it doesn't. You have no evidence. And if you think you have evidence, what do you have to do? You have to go to you have to get some approval to talk about that's not whistleblowing. Whistleblowing is saying, I know shit and I'm going to tell you everything I know and nobody's going to stop me. Beep. And then, you're seeing stars. All right. I'm going to show you the Hellfire video story from Vetted Anyway. I thought the other thing would take a little longer. So he's saying, truth about Hellfire UFO video, they lied.
Vetted. So, yesterday, Tuesday, September 9th, there was a UFO hearing in Washington, D.C. I covered it in a live stream. I'll put a link in the description if you want to watch the entire hearing. But in today's video, we're going to take a closer look at a video that was shown during the congressional hearing that everyone is talking about. But before we get to that and I break it down for you, let's take a look at some highlights from the hearing.
Skeptics. Growing up, I really never believed in UFOs or any of this stuff. I admit, I've become a believer.
GOP Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson showed an alarming video leaked to him anonymously. Burleson contends it shows a U.S. drone firing a Hellfire missile at a UAP off the coast of Yemen last fall.
It pivots in some way, and then there's what appears to be debris from the missile. The missile is deflected, and then some pieces of debris appear to be traveling alongside and with this object for an extended period of time.
One witness says the federal agency tasked with investigating UAPs rules out encounters with extraterrestrials on a technicality.
The only way to scientifically prove extraterrestrial is we have to go to that planet, acquire technology, bring it back, and compare it to what we have here.
Lawmakers believe the whistleblowers are credible because of their positions.
It's politically convenient for the government if you all weren't military folks.
All right, let's get to it.
Just to refresh our memories, here's a montage of the actual video and some different responses from the.
This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. You cannot see that drone. And so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
Sick of seeing this. Don't worry, we'll never see it again after tonight. I promise you that. I'll show you the video I was supposed to do last night for the members. I'll show you the thumbnail, I mean. It's funny.
I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our episodes a while back. We did not have the video, though. There are servers where
we don't need to see this.
Bank
All right,
of these
here we
kind
go.
With the video, it's the why this video was released, because we can determine that this is a MQ-9 Reaper drone, which I looked up and even found similar sort of gun cam footage, if you will, that matches yesterday's video. On the right, you'll see the footage from yesterday's video shown in the congressional hearing, and on the left, you'll see a typical Reaper drone video, identically matching, right, with the laser signature, right? So essentially, that's what they're saying, right? That's what happened. A Reaper drone such as this was flying and shot this object in the air with a Hellfire missile, and it kind of shows that it broke apart. It hit it, kept going, the missile kept going and broke apart this object, and allegedly the object keeps going, right? But that's what we're going to get into in this video. The terminology used to present this particular video and the story about the video, because we see it and maybe at first glance it seems extraordinary, but maybe that's just because the way the video was set up. Because take a listen to Eric Burleson after the hearing, describing a little bit more about how he got the video. And I want to know, why wasn't this brought up during the hearing?
Yeah, it's a remarkable video. I received it anonymously with what it's in a way in which I've learned is called a dead drop. The video was scrubbed from all information. So, and that's why I'm saying.
What's a dead drop? Hold on one second. What's a dead drop?
Completely anonymously. There's nothing to trace back to, and I have no idea who gave it to me. So I decided I could either sit on it and try to like spend time. I don't have the resources to do forensic on video. And so either I could sit on it, but look, I'm a disclosure guy. I'm just going to let the internet figure out the validity of this video.
Oh my God. They're not even going to do any research on it. I forgot about that.
And so that's kind of the posture that I took.
I mean, even Knapp goes on to explain that it was leaked.
We've been hearing about this video for a while. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it on the air a while ago. We hadn't seen it yet, but now that it's been released, awesome. Somebody had to leak that and put it out and put it in the right hands. A member of Congress had showed it to us in advance of the hearing, and it was pretty spectacular. I mean, a Hellfire missile hitting an unknown object, it bounces.
So this is the alleged object.
Look at this.
In the video.
So one of the hypersonic missiles, it changes direction?
This is more precise. So what they realized was that collateral damage is a big deal in war zones, because if you kill people that aren't just the target, you galvanize that group against your... Yeah, there it is. America's secret ninja bomb packed with blades that shred militants alive.
Oh my God.
This is amazing.
So there's no explosive in the front of it. It gets deployed using an existing platform, but rather than having an explosive payload, these razor-sharp, 6 razor-sharp swords come out the side of it and just turn human flesh into smoothies.
It is a version of a Hellfire missile, meaning it's about 5 feet long, about 100 pounds, and what makes it unique is this. You can't see the 2 in the back, but there are 6 blades that as this flies toward a target, they pop out at the last possible moment, creating a kinetic attack force. What that means is no explosion, just a tremendous force moving through a target, so something about as big as a screen is exposed to the attack and nothing else around it. It's a very unusual weapon. And again, they don't really want to talk about it, in part because it is so unusual and such a surprise on the battlefield now.
Look at what it does to a car.
Oh my God.
But how precise this thing is. It's so precise. Yeah, the flying Jinsu. I think it's colloquially called the jihadi blender.
You're talking about one that does not have a blast area at all. You can't call this a bomb. This is a kinetic weapon. It is a kinetic missile. That's its purpose. And that's why they say you use it in a civilian place, you're much less likely to hit anyone other than your target because, again, the damage area is right in one spot.
It's so precise that you need to know which seat of the car the
bad guy's in.
Bad dude's in, yeah. Because if it was a long enough vehicle, front right seat and back left seat will be scared, but it'll be fine.
Really explain to folks how this differs from other Hellfire missiles.
The big difference is this. If you look at the firing of a normal Hellfire missile, it takes off and it's carrying a warhead. It is being guided toward a target, and when it hits, it is going to explode. The blast area, when it explodes, would be potentially about as big as a football field in terms of where people would be in danger. That's a big impact. And bear in mind, this thing is moving very, very fast.
So there was this dude, supposedly one of the masterminds behind 9/11. They'd done surveillance on this guy, and every morning he'd come out and drink his coffee on his balcony. Same balcony, he'd come out and he'd drink his coffee and look out. So they just timed 2 of those things. Comes out, and that's it. There's no explosion, there's no nothing, and this guy just gets turned into dust.
They shot 2 of them at him?
2, just in case the first one missed, I think.
Yeah, it limits that collateral damage that U.S. drone strikes have faced so much criticism because of. When you're specifically, Tom, looking at the aftermath of this strike that we saw in Kabul, what suggests that this could be the weapon that was used?
The same thing that it would suggest to you. Look at the house. There's no sign of a giant blast here. You talk about a blast that could, reach out across a football field. There's no sign of that here. There is limited contained damage. You don't see burn marks. You don't see blast fragmentation. You see none of the thing you'd expect from a normal explosion out there.
And here's the other thing, because it only propels for the first 2 seconds, and then after that it's just using fins, so it works out the trajectory. So there's not even the sound of engine coming toward you. It's just silence and then blades and death.
Yeah, it sounds
But for me,
like
the whole point
Edward
of this video
Scissorhands.
is to just show that the why. I think this video was released for this reason right here. Take a look at the headline of this article. You see, the whole idea is that these Hellfire missiles are air to ground. And every video I found of any sort of Hellfire missile, regardless if it had a warhead or it was one of these ninja ones, was all air to ground, right? Or ground to ground, but never air to air. And I think this video was released to sort of showcase that. It has nothing to do with UFOs, right? Because anyone seeing this, that's the weird thing about this, is that the Hellfire is hitting something in the air. And honestly, for that thing to be laser guided, the missile going to it, it would have to be moving not that fast. So why do people think this is an anomalous object? Why do people think this is non-human or alien? Where are we getting this from, right?
Gee, I wonder. Anyway, that's the story on that. I already put the link to Vetted and the UFO hearing that was live on the 9th in the show description while we were watching videos, if you want to go check it out. But that's it for tonight. I'm glad you guys hung out for a little bit. I'm glad to be back. I am surprised I went as long as we have. But when you lie in bed for almost 5 days straight, you want to do stuff. And the stuff I love to do is this. I am probably going to focus a lot more on this channel than Rich Saves America while I recover. So I'm going to be very careful with my health here for the next week, because if I go through this again, I swear to God, you may never see me again. It was bad. I mean, I'm telling you, it was bad. All right. So I talked in the beginning of the show about the Charlie Kirk and how we should be, we should be more, well, I don't know if we should be more transparent with each other than we have been, but with what happened with Charlie Kirk, it changed something in me right now. I want to do a better job at everything. It's weird. I don't know. I mean, I like the guy a lot. I watched his stuff. It's not like I watched him every day, but I did enjoy the things he was saying and how he was a man of God and faith, and I should be more of that. But it's interesting to see somebody so young, so far ahead. And that's the way I felt when I saw Charlie Kirk. He quit college. He went out and wanted to teach the youth about America and what's really going on, at least his version of it. And I didn't think he was too far off. I thought he was spot on a lot of things. And I know a lot of the things that he said could be taken as hate, but it never was intended that way, I'm sure. But that's a little different here. Here, I get angry and I speak my mind. But we should be kind to each other. It's not worth dying over. No, it is. It is. Somebody told me when I was doing my First Amendment stuff at a post office, it's on video, you could see it. Guy goes, somebody's going to shoot you. So, I remember when it was at the post office about a year ago. In April, I think. And the guy goes, somebody's going to shoot you someday. And I go, then I'll die for what I believe in. And I still feel that way. Charlie Kirk felt that way. And many of us feel that way. And, I've always claimed to be an independent, but a lot of people think I'm full right. I'm not. I'm an independent when it comes down to it. I go with what makes the most sense to me And I know you do the same. We all want what we want, but how can we all get what we want without so much hate? And I'm going to blame the media for what has been happening. You heard it years ago. We got to take them down. You see them at a gas station. You remember that crazy woman? And Chuck Schumer, you're going to take it too far and all that stuff. And then that'll be it, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but he was talking about ending lives on our side, on the right. I say our side because I believe maybe I am right wing now, full right wing, but it's a weird world right now. Life is what you make of it, people. It's not what somebody says. Who cares? It's entertainment over here. And you know, while there's entertainment going on, there is some value you could take away from what people are saying. Maybe it'll light a bulb in you or create another way of thinking. And, you know, we learn too. I mean, I've learned more about the trans community than I ever wanted to. And it is exactly what, no, it's not what I thought it was. I didn't know anything about what I've been learning. And I'm not going to talk about it because, really, you know what? Not for this show. But I understand it. I can't imagine being in their shoes. And I understand how they must feel. Everybody looking at you, well, why are people looking at you? You know you look different, don't you? And if that's where body dysmorphia comes in from, I've got it too. When I was 240 pounds, I thought I was skinny. I'm too skinny, I used to tell people. Oh, you know, because I had a chemical imbalance. I was taking too much steroids. It does it. I'm telling you. That's why I'm fucked up today. You know, I have no shame in it. I enjoyed it. I'd do it all over again. I really would. But I'd do it differently. I'd have a doctor watch over me. But I would do it again. You know, we live in the greatest country. And I said this in the beginning. We're flawed. You may even say you don't like the country. Where are you going to go that's any better than this? You're not. You're not going to find it. And I told you, life is what you make of it. So if every day you wake up with hate in your heart, you're going to have hate in your day. You wake up and you say, God, this is what I've been doing for the last 2 years. Another day, I am going to make my mark. I always say something different every day when I wake up. And then I go, oh, and then But we keep going. We keep going forward. Nobody's going to stop somebody's message if take one of us out. It's going to continue. Sure, you may take maybe a piece of that, 100 million headed snake. But you can't take a whole voice out like Charlie Kirk and others who have fallen in the name of politics, in the name of First Amendment, Second Amendment, the Constitution, in the name of all things that is America. And I don't understand why America shouldn't be first. Call me crazy. But with these whistleblowers coming out, I still think it's a mistake. I think if anybody comes out, if they don't have evidence, it's another story. And now I want you guys to focus. So let's see if, I'm not saying Nusatelli, that Borland guy, I bet you, because he's like homeless, right? He's like near homeless. I bet you he starts speaking, getting 1,000, 2,000 to speak at events, 5,000. Maybe he'd be up to 10,000 where Lou is, who knows? Go speak somewhere now, guy. Get yourself out of debt. Get yourself a new house. Enjoy that whistleblower 15 minutes of fame. Run with it, because it's over. It's already ended. All right, until next time. Thank you, everybody, for your support. You can still support Super Chat, Super Sticker, PayPal, Cash App. All those links are in the show description as well and on the homepage of Goof On. I appreciate everybody's time tonight. Thank you for watching the hearing review. And we'll see you tomorrow, perhaps. I don't know what tomorrow's bringing, but I want to be here. Oh, wait. Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here. And then I have UFC 320, I think, is tomorrow. Right? All right. That's it. Thank you, moderators, super chatters, newcomers, and veterans for making this show entertaining. What's that? Oh, the poll. All right, let's end the poll that's in there. That was a good poll, I thought. So if you found an alien and its ship stranded and the alien's unable to care for itself, would you try to help it or call the authorities, call a journalist and the news? Help it, but they got to leave proof. Help it, but must take me with it. Coming in last place is call a journalist and news at 4%. At 11% is call the authorities at 41%. I'd help it, but it must take me with it. And coming in at number 1 at 44%, if you found an alien and its ship stranded and unable to care for itself, would you try to help it or help it, but must leave proof at 44%. That's only 46 votes, but we had 50 earlier on the other one, so a total of 106 votes tonight. Thank you very much for getting over the 100, and thank you for hanging out at Goof On. That was a good poll, I thought. That was my best one, I think, of the year. That was a good one. That's how polls should be. Yeah? Huh? What? No, that's it. And we'll be back with sightings and stuff tomorrow, and I think I was going to show you. So I had a show I was planning on yesterday. Check this out. Look at here's the thumbnail. I even made the thumbnail. I really thought I was going to do a show, and then I passed out. Here it is. It was going to be for members only. And I was going to be, some say I am a targeted individual. Let me tell you why I may be a TI. Targeted individual is someone that the government uses like radar technology, radio wave, microwave technology, from satellites or from whatever they're doing from space, and they aim it at you. And they change your body's biologics. Believe it or not, I think that's what's happening to me. Before I've gotten sick the last 3 times, I was very aware of my surroundings and what I felt leading into getting sick. And one thing that's certain is in my right ear, I get a high-pitched ringing 2 days before. It's happened 3 times in a row. Now, I have been having a bout of high blood pressure because when I get sick, my blood pressure goes up. And I don't know if that's because of the blood pressure sending signals to my head, or that's just because my blood pressure is getting high that I'm getting some things happening. And, hearing a whistle in your ear or feeling vibrating in your ear is very common when you stand up or sit down too fast. You get that head rush, kind of like that. So, when it happens in one ear and it's, and you're like, God damn, my ear. I've been playing Oculus with Michael from Dark Hour, and we'd be doing mini golf, and I'm like, damn, something happened to my ear. I'd be like, I'm in pain, and then it'd go away. And then I'd be sick 2 days later. So I don't know if I am. But I'm keeping track of everything that happens to me. Believe you me. It's probably the government trying to keep me silent. They're just torturing me to death. I was at my happiest with my physique and how hard I've worked out to get to where I got. And I lost about 15% of that. I've got to work out for a month and a half, maybe 2 months to get to where I was. In 5 days, this thing attacked my muscles, and I lost over 11 pounds. It's pretty scary. So I don't know why I told you all that. I don't know where that went to, but I'm really scared. I mean, I'm telling you, it's scary. Just, I saw a diabetic today while I was getting food. She goes, "Hey, Rich, I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on?" I go, "I haven't been in it today." She goes, "I was in the hospital for 2 weeks because of my diabetes." I go, "What was wrong with you?" She goes, "Oh, my stomach. I was throwing up." I had the conversation with this girl. We could only talk for about 5 minutes because she was heading back into work. But I'm like, we got to talk. So we're going to talk. I haven't met anybody that, and I told her what happened to me. She's like, "Oh my God." And she looked at me. She goes, "Oh yeah, you kind of look, but I can't tell with the beard, but I can see you lost some weight." So anyway, thanks everybody. We're getting out of here, I promise. When you don't talk and you're used to talking every day, you want to talk. But I'm getting a headache, so it's time to go. All right, we'll get you out of here. See you guys. Alien bless.
How deep across my bones you carved your name. I'm left alone. Scars like rivers burning bright. In your shadow I lose the fight. Broke me in, broke me down, shattered soul hit the ground. Echo scream, no safe sound. Broke me in, broke me down. Steel strings wail, thunder roars, battered heart, open soul.